All right, so I'm going to talk about Amazon ungating. And actually, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. Like we said earlier, we've taught thousands of people how to get ungated in different categories within Amazon. And Amazon is always changing their categories from being open to gated. And they recently just made a change that I'm going to be going over with you here shortly. But let me run through this presentation with you and give you a background on exactly what Amazon ungating is. So how does Amazon define ungating, right? So there are certain categories within Amazon that require approval. So you can list your products, right? Only professional selling plan subscribers can sell in these categories. So the professional selling plan subscription is the one that everyone should have, and it's the one that's $39.99 per month. And really, the reason why Amazon gates certain categories is just to help make sure that sellers are meeting certain standards for products and listing quality, right? They don't want someone making a supplement, for example, in their garage and then selling it on Amazon. You know, that can come with a lot of liability, not only for the seller, but for Amazon as well. So they had to put restrictions in place for certain products that go in your body, on your body, and even other products that might have some, safety concerns involved, like baby products, for example. That's another category that has gating. So I'm actually going to run through and I'm going to show you which categories are open currently, which ones are gated. So I'll go through that here in a second. But the bottom line is that the reason why Amazon even has gated categories is to help protect the seller, themselves, and ultimately the buyer. So based on that, so what categories require ungating? Which means which categories do you need to go through the approval process with Amazon? So these are all the different categories here that require ungating. And one of the newer ones that just was added to this list as of today was the home and garden category. So there are certain subcategories within the home and garden category now, specifically gardening and water products that you need to go through this approval process. And after I'm done with this presentation, I'm actually going to show you that live within our Amazon Seller Central account. So that's something that we've never done before with a gated product. So that'll be awesome for you guys to see. But again, these are the different categories. The ones that you see with asterisks here, some of the different products within these categories are open, but then there's subcategories that are gated. Like, for example, beauty. Some of the different products within beauty you don't need to get approval for, but makeup, hair, and skin products you do. Clothing and accessories, there's certain subcategories within that category that you need to get the approval for as well.
And real quick, Mike, you bring up a really good point, right? Because it's not that Olive Garden is gated, but it's the subcategories, guys. So when Mike is showing you guys these things, understand that, because you might be thinking, wait, garden's not gated, but that's a brand new change. So if you're looking to sell a product, and Mike's going to go through this, you might want to look through the Amazon, like actually build the mock listing like we teach you, and then see if it requires approval, right? Like, because that's a really good thing that you should know in advance. Not that we can't help you get ungated, but it's something really important that you guys should know.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mike. I mean, you definitely want to go through and follow our strategy in regards to creating the mock listing. And I would create the mock listing before you even purchase the product from the manufacturer, because most of the time you need documentation from the manufacturer to help you get the approval from Amazon. And if that specific manufacturer can't help you obtain that information, then you're not going to be able to use that manufacturer. So it's super important to go through that process of creating that mock listing and see if the message pops up that says they require approval. I always, we always tell everyone to do that. And then we even take it a step further, and we ask them to create a mock FBA inbound shipment as well, because I've actually seen where you'll create the mock listing, everything will be fine, no message will pop up, and then you actually have to create the FBA inbound shipment before the approval message will pop up. So it's almost like a fail safe. You want to do both. And we actually show you guys how to do that in module 4 within the members area. So definitely review that when you get a chance. So again, these are all the categories that require ungating. Let me take you over to this first link here, this Amazon Ungating 2018. Let me show you guys something. So I'm going to click on this. It's going to take us right over there. And so this is a really cool site here on Amazon. So it takes you right over here, and it goes through exactly what you can sell, which categories require approval, which categories are open. And if you continue to scroll down through here, you'll see all the different categories here, and then all of the different notes here under approval required on the right-hand side here. So you can get a really good idea right off the bat of which categories are open and which ones need approval with all the different details here. I can tell you though, I would not rely 100% on this. I would still go create that mock listing and even create that mock FBA inbound shipment just to make sure, because just like we said, things change all the time on Amazon. And one of these categories that say that, it's an open category, it could be a gated and closed category tomorrow. I mean, that's literally how quick it happens. So that's exactly what I would do. And this is pretty cool over here. So check this out. Like if you were wanted to sell automotive products, you can come right here and click on requirements, and it'll give you a quick list of what type of requirements that you would need to get, together to provide Amazon. So again, it gives you a brief overview of that. And then once you go through the actual approval process, and again, I'm going to show you that here in a minute after I'm done with the presentation, they list out exactly what they need from you. So I'll show you that. So let me go back to the presentation here. Hold on one second for me. Okay, and then the other site that I want to show you on Amazon is this next link. And this webinar recording will be in the new members area, so you'll have all these links as well. So look at this site on this part of the site on Amazon. So this goes into really great detail about it, and Amazon actually gives you the recommendation to go through the add a product phase, which is basically creating your mock listing. So they actually give you that advice to do that as well. Right here, this is how you would do it. But you'll see exactly what you need to do when you watch Module 4 within the new members area. So Amazon does have a lot of information out there about what you need to do to get ungated and which categories are open, which categories are closed. And those two links, the one that I just showed you and this one here, those are these two links are the two best links to go to learn more about that process. So let me go back to the presentation. In the next slide, we're going to go to this is what categories are open. So these are all the categories that are currently open. Now, again, the ones with asterisks, those are the ones that have subcategories that require approval. So you can look down through here. Again, if you see an asterisk, that means there's a subcategory. And this was a new one that I just added because we just found out that there was a subcategory in home and garden that needed approval. And then, but all the other ones that you see that do not have asterisks next to them, those are open. There's no approval necessary. So again, this presentation will be downloaded with the webinar recording in the new members area, so you'll have it for reference. So what do you need to get ungated? That's one of the first questions that everyone asks us when they start going through this process. Well, I can tell you that the documents needed to get ungated are different for every gated category. I'm just going to give you a very broad structure of how the gating process works. And specifically, I'm going to give you the information that you would need to get together if you wanted to sell dietary supplements on Amazon, because that's the last product that we got ungated for on Amazon. So what do you need to get to get ungated, right? So for dietary supplements, they required 3 commercial invoices from reputable suppliers. Retail receipts are not an option. So what do I mean by retail receipts? I mean, if I went to GNC in the mall and I bought 20 bottles of, a weight loss supplement, and then I tried to resell it on Amazon, they will not accept the receipt from GNC as a commercial invoice. They will not accept that. So it's got to be 3 commercial invoices. And I'm going to show you an example of what a commercial invoice looks like here in a minute. And these bullet points I have here are some of the detailed points that you want your invoice to have on them. It's when you're going through the ungating process, the details are everything. Real quick story. It took me 22 times to get ungated for dietary supplements. The reason why is because Amazon is very vague about what they want from you to get ungated. They almost make it hard to weed out the people that aren't going to continue to push forward. But I can tell you, if you continue to push forward, you continue to revise your documents, you will 100% get ungated. It's just the process. You have to go through the process, and if you do, you will be successful. So for dietary supplements, the invoices must be dated within the last 90 days or showing item of the delivery or purchase within the last 90 days. Invoices must have your name or issuing business name exactly as it appears on your Amazon selling account. That's another very important part. And that's for any category that you get ungated in. The invoices must have your name or issuing business name exactly as it appears on your Amazon selling account. So when you look at your legal entity name within your Amazon Seller Central account, it must exactly appear like that on your invoice. Invoices must have contact information for your business, address, phone number, email, or website. Invoices must have the names of the products you purchased. Invoices must have the document issuer's name, address, phone number, email address, and website. And the website must be on the first page. So this would be your manufacturer. Whoever your manufacturer is, you need to make sure that their website is on the invoice, because Amazon is going to physically type in the web address to your manufacturer and go visit their page. That's one of the ways they figure out if your manufacturer is legitimate or not. All right. So that's exactly how that works. And then you don't have to show Amazon any of your pricing information. Black out the pricing information on your invoices. They do not need to see that. You don't need to let them know how much you paid for your products. The next 2 things that we had to give them for dietary supplements were a good manufacturing practice certificate and our state issued business license. Again, every category is a little bit different. This is what you need for dietary supplement ungating. Basically, for those of you that don't know what a good manufacturing practice certificate is, any reputable supplement manufacturer will have a good manufacturing practice certificate. If they don't, run away from them as fast as possible, because they're not meeting requirements showing that their manufacturing facility is up to par, right? And you never ever.
Something to add to it, like just to let them know, Mike, and it's not part of ungating, but if you're looking at supplements, you also want to make sure they have an FDA certificate too, right? But
yes,
we're not getting into that right now, but these are just like, if you want to do supplements, like that's just something to know. And you also want to know they have insurance and they add you as an additional insured. This is like completely different training. If you guys are looking to do supplements, like I could tell you firsthand, I don't know anyone that's sold more than me and Mike combined supplements. So we definitely know how to help you there. But That's not
Absolutely.
what this training's about. But if you want to do supplements, like the two of us together, I don't know of anyone that sold more than us.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, you just want to make sure if you do want to do supplements, like Mike said, just make sure they have all of the documentation that legitimizes them as a reputable manufacturer. Because you would never ever want to run into a situation where you created supplements with a shady manufacturer, because ultimately people are ingesting these and they could get sick, right? And you don't want to have to deal with that. So make sure it's a reputable manufacturer, especially if you're selling supplements. So let's go on to the next slide here. So this is what I wanted to show you here. This is what a commercial invoice looks like. So this is exactly what it looks like. And these are all the details that I just went over on that last slide. This is the manufacturer name, address, email address, website, very important. It must have their website on there. The name of the name of your company, your email, your phone number, your ship to information, the name of the products, obviously, the quantity. As you can see, we blacked out any of the pricing information. Amazon doesn't need to see that. One tip, and this is something that we learned through the ungating process, the 21 different times that we had to go through it and make tweaks. We did this towards the end of our process, but we put our UPC barcode on the invoice with the UPC numbers here, and this helped us get ungated because we tried without it and then we tried with it and we got the approval process. So I always recommend doing this. It's just a tip that could help you get ungated faster. So definitely recommend doing that. Just get your graphic designer, or if you're good with Photoshop, just Photoshop your barcode and your UPC code right onto your invoice. Make sure that it's the UPC code, the same UPC code that you use when you create your mock listing for the product. Make sure they match, right? Because that will help your cause as well. Because Amazon will be able to go into your mock listing, match up the UPC from the invoice, and if they match, then they'll realize that you're a legitimate seller, right? That you're taking all the necessary steps to sell this product, right? And that's what they want to see. They want to see people that are going to take all the steps, follow the processes, and give them everything that they need to verify that you're going to be a legitimate business, right? So that's exactly what you want to do. And this is a example of a good manufacturing practice certificate. This is exactly what they should look like. One quick tip on this: make sure that it's not expired when you receive it from your manufacturer. I'm telling you that because that happened to me. I asked for a good manufacturing practice certificate from one of my suppliers, and it wasn't their fault. They just accidentally sent me the wrong one. But I sent that into Amazon because I didn't even think about looking at the expiration date. And boom, my documents got denied, right? And then I had to go back to my manufacturer, ask them for the updated good manufacturing practice certificate, and then I sent it in with my documents, right? So it's like I said, with this process of ungating, it's all about the details. There's so many little details that you have to make sure that are right. So just verify all your documents before you send them into Amazon. That's very important. So let me show you this. So I mentioned that it took us 22 times to get the approval process. You will receive emails from Amazon that look exactly like this. This is a screenshot from Amazon, from them sending us an email. They will literally tell you that we appreciate your understanding. Be aware that our decision regarding this matter is final. Basically saying that you're never going to receive the approval process. Our decision regarding this matter is final. Well, I'm super stubborn. So I was like, well, it's not final. I'm just going to continue to submit my documents over and over and over and over again until they fall across somebody's desk that actually that cares to review them properly, right? And that's exactly what happens. I mean, you just have to continue to tweak your documents, make sure they're right, and just submit them over and over and over again. And they will finally fall across somebody that pulls them up, reviews them properly, and then approves you. So I wasn't going to let this stand in my way. So again, I kept on fighting and fighting and fighting. And then about 30 days later of fighting every single day, I woke up and I had this email in my inbox from Amy. I remember it specifically because I jumped out of my seat in my office because I was so excited because it was a fight. And I got the approval process to sell dietary supplements. Thank you for your application to sell dietary supplements products on Amazon. We reviewed the documentation you provided as part of your application and determined it met all of our requirements. Well, that's funny. Be aware that our decision regarding this matter is final on 12/7. And then I got the approval process on January 3rd. So obviously it wasn't final. My point is you can't give up. You have to continue to fight. You've got to continue to tweak your documents. If you don't quit, you will get ungated. But a lot of people quit because sometimes you run into hurdles and it can become extremely difficult because Amazon will just give you vague information. They won't let you know what they need. Luckily, we've been through it now so many times that we can help you fill in those gaps, those vague gaps that Amazon gives you. We can help you fill in those gaps. We can help you put the documents together and, send the proper documents into Amazon so you don't have to go through 30 days and 21 failed attempts to get ungated, right?
Yeah, and remember too, like a lot of the categories are much less strict. Like we're showing you the strictest, just so you guys know that this supplements hands down is the strictest, hands down category to get ungated in. We've seen like super easy, like different automotive things. It was like one time bang, like so many of the gated categories. But we love to show supplements only because we've gone through it on multiple occasions and helped students go through it. And we're showing you the strictest way to do it. So if you're in a less strict category and follow these processes, it's obviously going to be much easier for you, but we want to show you the hardest. So that way you can work down from there.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, let's go on to the next slide here. So I just wanted to show you, these are two of our most recent students that got ungated for dietary supplements, both of them actually. So I asked them to, these are two students that we worked with on Voxer, and I asked them to send these over, so I could take a look at them. And, I worked with both these students personally and followed their journey along. And, like I told them, and like I'm telling you, if you don't quit with the ungating process, you will definitely get ungated. So it's pretty cool to go through that, process with the students. And then finally they receive these messages here and, they send them over, they send me screenshots through Voxer and I get to check them out. So it's definitely rewarding going through that process. So you can get ungated for any closed or gated category on Amazon. We can help you get through that process for sure. And these are just our contact details here, my email address, our Voxer account. You can reach out to us there with any questions. So that's the presentation. Now I'm actually going to take you over to Amazon Seller Central, and I'm going to show you what the beginning process looks like for getting ungated. So let me go over there now. Hold on one second. All right, so we just went through the ungating presentation. Now let me show you what we spoke about in the very, very beginning of the presentation about the home and garden category having a subcategory of gardening and watering tools now being gated. Okay, so for those of you that have been following along with us, you saw in modules 1 through 4, the product that we were working on was a garden hose. And in the past, garden hoses were never a gated category. And actually yesterday when I was in our account, I was looking at the mock listing that we created right here for the garden hose, and this message popped up. And so this is what the messages look like when you create a mock listing and then they ask you for, to go through the approval process. So it'll say you need approval to list gardening and watering products. Again, until 3 days ago, gardening and watering products were never a gated category. But again, Amazon makes changes to these categories all the time. So this is something new. So I'm not going to be able to go through the entire approval process right now, but I'll show you initially how it works because Amazon will, ask for different documents that, obviously we're not going to have right now, but I'll show you exactly how it works. So when you get this screen here, you'll hit request approval, and then you'll hit it again. So it's you need approval to sell other gardening and watering products. You'll hit request approval again. And then the next screen that pops up is a very common screen. So this screen here, this will look the same for every single category that you would need to get ungated for. This will be the first question that they ask you. So tell us about your products and business. So you'll want to choose both here. As a private label FBA seller, you're both the manufacturer, the reseller, and the distributor, because Amazon doesn't know anything about your business, right? You're all of the above. So you would choose both here because you're private labeling and selling products. And now for this specific gardening hose, this is something that Amazon's requiring. They're requiring something called a quality management system certification. Again, this is something completely new that they've never asked for this type of product. So this is why I was saying the manufacturer that you're working with, right? They must be able to provide you with a quality management system certification, or you are not going to be able to use them as your manufacturer, because if you cannot provide Amazon with this certification that includes all of this information right here, then you're not going to get the approval to be able to sell this product. So I can tell you right now, any reputable manufacturer of garden hoses, they're going to have this quality management system certification. They're definitely going to have it. So I wouldn't even do business with them in the first place if they didn't have it. So again, as of right now, what my first step would be in this process, I would go back to my manufacturer. I would point blank ask them for this document. And if they can provide it to me, perfect. I'm going to get it from them and I'm going to drop it right into here, drop the files. I'm going to put any comments that I want to put in here. And then I'm going to put my contact information in here. I'm then going to hit submit. Now that would be the first initial process that we would have to take to start the process of getting the approval. I can tell you right now, though, this is not going to be the only thing they ask for. Once I hit submit, I'm going to wait a couple days, maybe 24 to 48 hours. Amazon's going to come back to me and say, okay, thank you for the quality management system certification, that it met our requirements, or it didn't meet our requirements. Hopefully it meets their requirements. And then they're going to shoot me back another email that says, now that you provided us with this certification, we need to see 3 invoices, or we need to see a business license, or we need to see, whatever it might be. They're going to ask to see something else. And then we supply them with those documents. And then hopefully after, 2 or 3 different back and forth with us supplying different documents, we get the approval process to sell the garden hoses. So that's exactly how that entire ungating process works. This is exactly what it looks like on Amazon's side. And this is exactly how you would even start the process to get ungated. But the most important thing is being able to provide Amazon with the correct documents that they ask for. Don't cut corners. Don't do anything like that, because Amazon has a very strict guidelines that they follow. When you send over your documents, they truly do go through them and look to make sure that everything is how they want it to be. And if it's not, they'll deny your documents, and then you just have to go through a very long and lengthy process. So just be very diligent with the details up front, and it'll help you get through the ungating process fairly quickly. So with that said, I'm going to switch it over to Sam. So hold on one second for me.
Thanks, Mike. And one of the things we were talking about before the call is because this has changed, and we feel like we had a pretty good grip on what needed to be gated, what was gated, what wasn't gated. So now when we talk about buying product and launching in the first 4 modules, we're actually going to create a dummy listing earlier in the process so that we can see what we're up against before we really get serious about a product. We usually don't create a dummy listing until the end when we want to create a shipment, but we're going to bring that much earlier, just like what we talk about with pay-per-click when we find out about the ranking, the cost per click. So I think we're going to definitely change that.